Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I listened to your testimony, and I'm glad to hear all of it, and I think we're all on the same page. The one thing that I'm surprised is if there was any reference to crypto ATMs, I didn't hear it. I think that's the new device that's being used with great success by the scam artist. And I would just refer again to my neighboring state of Iowa, represented by the chairman. Their attorney general is on this case, looking at crypto APM. An investigation by the Iowa Attorney General's office found over 98% of the money Iowans reported sending to Bitcoin Depot were part of a scam transaction. 98%. It gets worse. CoinFlip, another one of these operations, 95% for fraudulent transactions. These aren't real. I had a vaping shop in my hometown of Springfield, Illinois. I asked them to finally remove the crypto ATM machine because the owner was so embarrassed by the older people who came in there crying, tearing up, screaming, putting money into a machine, believing that they were saving themselves from a criminal prosecution. I mean, it's an outrage. So, Ms. Gunther, you know what I did with my bill because I worked with AARP to do it. Do you support it?
Yes, we do support it, and we've seen firsthand at AARP how victims are being funneled to these crypto ATMs by people, a variety of criminals. And what criminals do is they want to go to those transactions because there are no guardrails to these, right? There's no trained staff like you have.
No do-over.
Yep, no do-over. There are no consumer warnings, and there's no clawback. And that's why it's so important to have those guardrails. It's the same that we have guardrails in our traditional financial industry with banks and credit unions. We've seen that with BankSafe, when there's friction in the system, it gives people that pause to think something's wrong. And so by putting those frictions in the system with crypto ATMs, it will help cut down on fraud. But I think we really can't get to it until we get to the front end of the issue, which is trying to figure out how to cut it off, the communication from the criminals that are using this social media tech and telecom company platforms to communicate with consumers.
What percentage is using a telephone now for these scam transactions?
You know, I don't know that specific statistics, but I'm happy to get that for you for our office.
Mr. Burku, how much?
I don't know for sure either, but you know, it is something that we're continuing to focus on is when that communication comes through a phone call.
So when I warn senior citizens who are worried about these scams, be very doubtful of that telephone call. You're not going to get the telephone call from the Veterans Administration or the Social Security Administration. They're making it up. It's all phony, and they're trying to get you to do something you shouldn't do. I can recall getting a call from my bank, and they said, we're just checking a suspicious transaction. By the time of the end of the phone call, it was clear it was a scam. I told the fellow I just wasn't going to follow through, and he had some choice words for me. But is it safe to warn senior citizens to be extremely doubtful and careful when they receive this telephone communication?
I think, unfortunately, the current status of fraud, it is good to have everyone on their toes. I know AARP just launched a new campaign. I can't quote it, but it's pause and listen. So I think that's really good recommendations. And one thing I always tell people, if it's the bank calling, tell them you're going to hang up and call back the bank's public number. And if they protest, it's not the bank.
That'll be the end of the story. So if anybody asks you for a Social Security number over telephone, what's the answer?
No, thank you.
Never do it. How about passwords to get into your accounts?
That I would recommend against that as well.
Let me ask you about the crypto issue, Mr. Fenta. You seem to be aware of it yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, Senator. Very common in pretty much every transnational elder fraud case now. It's kind of hard to find one without crypto transactions, and specifically the ATMs.
I think some 13 states now have put in safeguards by their state law. Because I cannot offer an amendment to the crypto bill, there'll be no amendments. I won't even be able to raise this issue on a national basis. We ought to do it once and for all. This is a classic example of an amendment which, when I was here a few years ago, would have been accepted on a bipartisan basis. We're trying to establish some safety when it comes to these scam transactions. But we were being allowed by the crypto industry no amendments, none, to this bill. Take it or leave it.
Senator Moody.